Well, it seems like 1 week we're waiting for an attack from Iran, and now the next week we're waiting for war with Lebanon.
Yeah.
That's the way it is here in the Middle East.
Yeah. And also, is Biden administration to the whole new level of betrayal on Israel?
Who knows?
We'll see.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Welcome back to TGR News.
Hello, hello.
We have to say thank you. Thank you guys so much for everything you guys are doing. You are a huge deal in these people's lives. You are making an enormous difference in these people's lives. Your support is helping to change the statistic of 1 in 3 children go to bed hungry every night in Israel. It is such a blessing to be a part of. It's such an amazing miracle to be able to witness to these people, the chosen people, the apple of God's eye, the people who turned their back on Jesus over 2,000 years ago, but now we're trying to minister to. Praise the Lord for everything you guys do. And it is such an honor and a blessing to be able to do it for you, to be your hands on, your boots on the ground over here as you send your support. So thank you so much. If you haven't and you want to be a part of this ministry, there are links below all of our videos to the Patreon page and to the Support Us page. Or you could just go to the Support Us page on thegoldenreport.com as you type it in on your web browser and choose whatever way is best for you. While you're down there in the links, there's a link to the Telegram TGR News from Israel, which will give you up to date,
real time, all the news,
everything that we talk about and more than what we talk about on the weekly news, in a up to date, second by second blow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So some of it with a little bit of commentary as well.
I'm trying to give the facts without being too much involved, but sometimes
it slips out.
Yeah.
So don't forget to check that out if you want to be up to date and have complete knowledge of the current events of the state of Israel. Go check that out. And sometimes you'll even be you'll be informed faster and more information than the average Israeli in the state of Israel has. Well, thank you for everything, guys. And it's such a blessing to be able to do what we do for you guys here in the state of Israel. So let's get started.
Yeah, let's do it.
At the beginning of the week, the U.S. placed another aircraft carrier in our area ready for the Iranian attack. This was at the beginning of the week. That everyone was still waiting for, this attack that was supposed to be happening now for the second or over the second week in a row. That Iran has everyone waiting for their attack.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how we've been waiting for the attack. It's all over the news in Israel almost every day. The Israeli people can see a clear picture that shows the Biden administration showing zero support for Israel, but the U.S. military showing a strong and large show of support. By the way, just in case they're not talking about it enough in your news, this is the largest military presence in the Middle East in support of Israel in history. There has never been as many ships sent through this area ever. Period.
True. That's true.
It's this is all during the time we're talking about the largest military support sent to support the state of Israel during the time the Biden administration, who's all talking about how bad and not supporting Israel. Even sometimes it seems like they're supporting Iran and Hamas more, So it just shows you the contrast between what's being said and what's being done.
Yeah. And I cannot go inside the head of Khamenei in Iran but I have a feeling it looks like this is what actually prevented until now the Iranian attack. All this presence and show of power in the Middle East.
Huge part of it. Huge part of it for sure. It's another piece of the puzzle of why they did not. For sure, 100%. And it's just amazing. When you see the support, when you see the military might the U.S. has put around Israel, right? And I mean around Israel. It's when you look at the map. You should have put a map out the other day, but last week on the TGR News on the
Telegram
Telegram,
channel.
and where you could see they surrounding Israel and supporting Israel. So when you see that military might, that much support, it makes it so ridiculous. When then you hear Biden and Harris saying such anti-Israel things, it's like they don't even know. I don't think they even know what their own military is doing. They're not. They're not. It's not the same.
Coordinated.
It's not the same.
Strange.
The largest support
strange.
ever. Right. Well,
Yeah. On Tuesday, we had a new situation with Iran. On Tuesday, Iran made a public statement saying that if Israel and Hamas made a deal, that they will not attack. Iran won't attack. This is clearly Iran grasping for a way out. I wonder if Iran was pressuring Hamas behind the scenes to make a deal in order to save face. In Israel, you say, get down from the tree that you climb on.
Yeah, get off the tree you climbed up on. Yeah, that's the Israeli saying. Because you climbed up so high in a tree, it's hard to get back down from it.
Exactly.
It's so true. I wonder because they are backpedaling. All of a sudden, they're like, okay, we're not going to attack. But you got to make a good deal with Hamas. You got to make this deal. And then we won't attack. And get out of, it's clear backpedaling. Just like you just said. Just, what was it? About 2 minutes ago? You said part of the puzzle. Well, I said part of the puzzle. But you said that the part of it is all this support America's been sending. They see that and they're like, maybe we don't attack right now.
Yeah,
right?
Well, something that many people think about, but Benjamin Netanyahu have another pressure from inside of Israel with this statement of Iran, because now, but also not only because the very left wing here in Israel blaming Benjamin Netanyahu that he don't make a deal.
Yeah.
And now they have even more excuses to say, well, you see, now Iran won't attack us. You have to make a deal. And I'm saying, like, don't you see that Benjamin Netanyahu is not the one who's stopping the deal? He's like, we have the same things that we say from the beginning. The Benjamin Netanyahu just lately kind of explained it more, go inside more deep of every little thing.
Yeah.
We never agreed to remove our forces from the X's, from the Philadelphia X. And
we're not going to get out until we get our hostages back. We can't. So, well, it's just like you're saying. The extreme left wing the extreme left wing in Israel blamed Bibi for the attack. They didn't blame Hamas, who did the attack. They blamed Bibi. Yeah. The Hamas that don't give us back our hostages, they blame Bibi. We haven't had the hostages back yet, as if Hamas is begging us to take the hostages back. Bibi said, no, not yet. Wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
As if that's just
crazy.
That's just mumbo jumbo from the left. That just makes no sense. All idiotic.
Yeah.
Another important event that happened at the beginning of the week was that Israel had the Israeli news was finally begun to talk about the horrible truth that Hamas does not have over 100 of our hostages, dead or alive. This is something I've been talking about since the beginning of this war. I would be surprised if Hamas even has 50. When I say 50, I'm not talking about 50 alive. I'd be surprised even dead and alive if they had 50.
Together.
I've been saying it from the beginning. I'm waiting to see how the country is going to handle the piece of news that, sorry people, but a lot was lost out in the fields, out in the, we could not, by the time the animals got to them, and everything, I'm talking about the bodies of the dead, because Hamas came in and killed more. The number of hostages that we had was wrong, and the number of deaths of the 7th of October was wrong.
Yeah.
The number of deaths should have been higher, and the number of hostages should have came lower, correlating with each other, obviously. And because we couldn't find those bodies out in the fields, because the animals got to them, then we got the numbers messed up.
Yeah, well, we have a scale between people like you that was actually there on the 7th of October, see the whole picture of what's going on with the bodies and with the animals and with everything that's going on. So you know the truth. That's why you said it from the beginning. You don't believe that they actually have the number that we claim they have. Then you have the people that, like me, that we weren't there, but we kind of hope for the best, but know some facts. And you also have the hostages' families that are desperate to believe
that their hostage,
for disclosure,
their family
for at
members
least
alive
a
and coming
body,
back.
at least a body,
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have this scale of people, but you were there.
Yeah, I saw
You
it.
saw the truth.
I know the truth.
Yeah.
So they don't have them. So, but Israel's daily news is finally beginning. I've heard this week. It was just a little few minutes. They didn't elaborate. They didn't talk about it the next day. They didn't talk about it the day after. But they started. And that's the beginning of them starting to have the conversation now, which is important because until they have that conversation, we can't, the Israeli public can't understand that when we do pull out of Gaza, it will be without that long list of missing people, right? There'll be some of them, maybe even half of them, but not all of them, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be heartbreaking because people have got their whole mindset wrapped up around that. Well, we've talked about this a few times here on the channel. The IDF has been working overtime in Judea and Samaria as well as in the Jordan Valley area. And all the places that are breeding terrorists inside the borders of the state of Israel. The amount of terrorists that have been eliminated and the enormous amount of attacks from those terrorists that have been stopped is a miracle. The IDF has even began to use airstrikes in these areas, something that we have never done before. This is allowing us to take out terrorist cells and terrorist activities while avoiding putting our soldiers in danger. This is really something, the amount of work that the IDF has put into the Judea and Samaria and all these areas.
Yeah.
It is crazy. We've said it so many times. It would have its own war, its own name, its own more than operation.
Yes, for sure.
But if it wasn't for the war we was in Gaza and Iran and Hezbollah and so.
Yeah. And what's really concerning that lately we have more and more explosive vehicles, like suicidal vehicles.
Yeah.
That are trying. Just a few days ago, it was a job accident. That they explode themselves during the time they tried to make a terror attack in Israel. And it was again explosive weapon full of explosives that they tried to detonate on Israeli and on Jewish people. So that's so much.
Yes.
It's so important that we're doing this thing. And the terrorists. It's important also to mention that the terrorists belong to all the organizations, and many of them were released in the last hostage deal.
Yes, it's true.
Just like Sinwar and other Hamas commanders were released in Gilad Shalit deal.
Yep.
About 20 years ago.
Very true.
So
very true.
What it says, we shouldn't release terrorists with blood on their hands.
Yes.
We shouldn't. We have to. We must not.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, it's what's happening in Judea and Samaria is really something. I mean, if it wasn't for all the work the IDF was doing, I would be afraid to even fathom how many terrorist attacks and deaths there would be in the streets of Israel during this time. And another fact, it's interesting fact. The soldiers, you have soldiers doing their job 24/7, but they're the full-time enlisted soldiers. We have our reservists. Our full-time enlisted service are busy. The Judea and Samaria areas for the past 10 months has been ran and held up completely by our reserved army folk, right? The whole thing is being done by reservists.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the IDF, even under threat from Iran, we are being stepping it up. Our attacks here and airstrikes, taking out key players in southern Lebanon, in southern and central Lebanon. They're mostly southern though. We started this week with the feeling that Iran will attack soon. Now it looks like the war with Lebanon is closer than ever, and Iran is not going to attack. Every day, and sometimes a few times a day, we hear about more key players taken out in Lebanon. Makes you think, how much can Nasrallah take? When is it going to be enough is enough and he's going to start the war? And why hasn't he yet? Well, I think I know why. I've been saying I know why. And it's because he wants everyone to come back to the border and he wants his own 7th of surprise attack and kill as many Israelis as possible. It has his own 7th of October.
Yes.
It's the only thing that can make any sense to me why he has it.
Yeah. It's been 410 Hezbollah and Hamas altogether, but in Lebanon, operatives, terrorists that been killed in Lebanon.
Yeah. That
So
we've taken out.
410, we just keep killing them. We see them preparing to attack us. We just eliminating them. And he still didn't make a full-blown war with us.
Yeah.
We also, I don't know if you see the pictures coming out from Lebanon media, but Lebanese media, but the south of Lebanon also in ruins. You have villages like Kfar Kila, completely ruined.
Yep.
And still
no attack.
We have bad situation in Israel too, but they also suffering. So Well, let's talk about
the elephant in the room. Fox News has been talking about it. The Jerusalem Post wrote about it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if to report about it. I don't want to sound like, I want to make sure this is true, but you cannot actually prove this thing yet. And because Fox News reported about it, and because Jerusalem Post reported about it, I saw.
They all say allegedly.
And they all say allegedly. And the source is actually unnamed Iranian source in the Iranian government.
What we're talking about is Biden and the Biden administration giving up the Mossad names. Is what we're talking about.
Mossad agent names. We know for sure, that's fact, that the delegation, USA delegation, talks straight to Iranian officials. That we know. But now comes up reports that the delegation gave 10 Mossad agents named that was participating, somehow involved in Hania's assassination, and those agents live in Iran. That's important to say.
That would be a certain death to him, obviously.
That's important to say.
Death
so if
be
it's
nice
true,
what would happen to him?
If it's true, I'll leave it up to you guys.
If it's true, it's absolute betrayal. It's a stab in the back. It's
It's important also to mention that the U.S. Consul, I don't remember exactly his name, but he said it's completely, completely denial from the U.S. Government. So, I don't know. From one hand, Fox News, I trust those guys. They say allegedly, but still, it's like, wow, that's a big deal. So we wanted you to know about it.
Yeah. It's a huge thing. But then again, we're talking about the same thing again this week. Look at the difference between the Biden administration from not showing support and even betraying Israelis and Mossad agents, getting them who knows what kind of torture to them by the Biden administration. But yet the U.S. military showing us the biggest show of support ever in history. Right?
I have a question for you, just your opinion. What do you think? Do you think Israel actually gave the name of Mossad agents to the Biden administration? They know?
No, of course not. But intelligence agencies work together a lot, especially like intelligence agencies like the CIA and the Mossad. They work together a lot. They work not together a lot as well.
Yeah.
But they do work together. So that means there are certain areas where the CIA and the Mossad, they sort of meet a little bit, and there's a little bit of information given back and forth. Yeah. We know about them, they know about us, about this little group here, right? Not the whole organization, obviously not everything being done. And on both sides, it's the same. So they would, America, very possible that they would know here and there a bit of information, right?
Yeah, I hope it's not true. I really hope.
Okay. Well, you got anything else you want to say?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for everything you guys do. It is such a blessing to be in the land of Israel, the promised land, the Holy Land, doing your work, doing God's work through your support. So God bless you all. Don't forget to join us on thegoldenreport.com. And until next time.
Shabbat Shalom.
God bless.